من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. I just shared with you a document. Hopefully you can see it.
Yeah, we can see.
Yeah, okay. And today's topic is al-badl. This word badl is used in Urdu language also. Badal could be translated in English as uh, replacement or substitution. For example, like your tire, the tire of your car is flat. So what do? अब टायर बदल देते हैं. You replace the tire with your spare tire. So badal could be translated as replacement or substitution. And how we use in our language, we use a few phrases in our language. For example, Ustaz Abdul Khalik. I say this. I see him and I call him Ustaz Abdul Khalik or Ustaz Akhtar. Or I go to the masjid and I see our Imam Atif and I say, Sheikh Atif, how are you doing? Right? Sheikh Atif. So what is this phrase? This is a phrase, Sheikh Atif. For example, Allama Iqbal or Akhi, my brother Kashif. If I see him, I say, my brother Kashif. So if I focus on this word, for example, Sheikh Atif, Sheikh is like a title. But when I say Sheikh, what I really mean, I mean Atif. So when I say Sheikh, I mean Atif. So in this Atif is the replacement of Sheikh or a badal of Sheikh. So what I wrote here is one ism is followed by another ism, and the second ism actually clarifies and gives more details about the first ism. Then the first ism is actually means the second one, and the second one is called a badal. So when I say Sheikh Atif, Atif is actually what is really clarifying what I meant when I said Sheikh. So Sheikh is called Mubdal Minhu and Atif will be Badal. And this is the most simplest form, but the few examples I wrote here, these are very simple forms of this Badal and Mubdal Minhu. And this introduces an element of ihtimam in it. If you want to say something properly and with details in it, then you use this badal in your language. And the rule is the mubdal minhu and badal, they should match in status. Rafa, nasab, nasab, jar, and jar. Okay. So there are different types of badal. As we go on, I think it will become more clear if it is not clear at this time what really badal means. So there are different types of badal. Badlul kul. In substitution of total, like total substitution. And the example from Quran I have written here is وَإِذْ أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وَإِذْ قَالَ إِبْرَاهِيمَ لِأَبِيهِ آذَرَ. And when he said, Ibrahimu, maybe it was Ibrahimu, I'm not sure. وَإِذْ قَالَ إِبْرَاهِيمُ لِأَبِيهِ. It should be Ibrahimu. So, and when Ibrahim said to his father, and who was his father? Azar. So, li abihi. Abihi means his father. And who was his father? Azar. So, Azar is a badal of abihi. And that is why you see abihi. Abihi. What's the status of abihi? Anybody knows what the status of abihi?
Majroor.
Majroor. And Azar is also majroor. Azara, Azaru, Azara, Azara. So this Azar is a badal of abihi, and abihi is a mubdal minhu. So very simple example. Next example. وَإِلَى ثَمُودَ أَخَاهُمْ صَالِحًا. And towards Thamud, dear brother. Now the next word is explaining who was that brother. So Salihan is following aha, and it provides more information, more detail about brother. What really was meant by dear brother, the word dear brother, when Allah used it. So Salihan is a badal of akhahum. Okay. And towards the Samud, Allah sent towards the Samud, the nation of Samud, their brother Saleh. Saleh is the name. Right. So again, ahahum is mubdal minhu, and Salihan is badal. And if you try to like uh, fit this into any other category like sifa mawsuf, mudaf, mudaf ilayh, you will not be successful. You cannot say, Salihan is a sifa and akhahum is mawsuf. No, actually it may look like the other way around. So this will not fit in those categories. And a very well-known example, ihdina siratal mustaqim. Guide us to the straight path. So this is sifa mawsuf. Siratal lazina an'amta alayhim. Path of those who you favored upon them. You favored upon them. So this as-siratal mustaqima, this is mubdal minhu, and this is explained in the next ayah, siratal lazina an'amta alayhim. So what is really meant by straight path is explained in the next ayah over here. And you see, this is the next ayah, siratal lazina an'amta alayhim. But you see, sirata, it is mansub, because over here sirata was also mansub. Otherwise it would have been siratul lazina an'amta alayhim if it was not a badal. And if you want to explain it otherwise, it will be difficult, if even possible, to explain why it is mansub otherwise. So over here, siratul lazina an'amta alayhim, that is a badal of siratul mustaqima. And this is a badlul kul, total substitution. Another example, قالوا آمنا برب العالمين. They said, we believed in the Lord of the world, Lord of all the nations. Rabbi Musa wa Harun, Lord of Musa and Harun. So they when I think it's about the nation of Pharaoh when they were drowning, and they said we believed in the Rabb, in the master of all nations. And what they really meant, they explained it afterwards. Rabbi Musa, Lord or master of Musa and Harun. So Rabbi Musa and Harun is a badal of this Rabb, this word used here. So this is a total substitution, badalul kul. Any question on this?
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
When we say it in English, for example, if I say, "This is my brother Imran,"
Mhm.
is it the same thing?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
When you say this is my brother, if you stop at my brother,
Yeah, and
hmm,
comma. Yeah,
that
that's
should be
correct.
sufficient, right?
Right, right,
But you explain it more. What you really mean by my brother, then you tell his name also.
right.
This is, you did ihtimam here, right? What is
Mm.
ihtimam? When you invite someone and you do ihtimam, you have not only the main courses, but you also have salad, you have yogurt, you have chutney, you have drinks. When you do
Right.
all of that, that is ihtimam, right? So you
Okay.
didn't just stop here. This is my brother. You also said his name. So you did what? You did ihtimam.
Right, right.
Right? Yeah.
Got it. Jazakallah khair.
For example, I go to the masjid and tell someone, this is my sheikh, my sheikh.
Mm-hmm.
But I say,
Yeah.
no, but this is my sheikh, Atif Ibrahim,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
So Atif Ibrahim will be the badal of sheikh. And it is a total substitution,
Got it. Yes.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. Jazakallah khair.
And we use it quite often, like, well, as I said, Maulana something, Alama something, or something like that. People who use some titles. So any other question about Badlul Kul?
I have one question. This is look
Mm.
like not a type of mafa'il, like is matching something like a maf'ul. What type of maf'ul we can say like that? Substitute is a what and who is also is in we're using if it is a mansub, then we can say this is this type of mafa'il
But
like a
brother,
solid
this is not Mansub. Rabbi Musa is not Mansub.
like a akhahum salihan
Mm-hmm.
like we know that like a samud is a we can say like file, right? And his
And
brother
towards Samud, actually the we could say a verb is mahzuf. Wa arsalna ila samuda akhahum. So you can say arsalna is fail and fa'il. Ila samuda is jar majroor and akhahum is maf'ul. Okay.
okay.
So you're
Mm.
right. Akhahum, we could say this is maf'ul. And salihan, then what is salihan?
Is this also we can say is the explanation tamiz too because
This is
it's
a badal of
also
that maf'ul.
okay and it's close to tamiz
No, it is
explanation.
not tamjiz. No, no.
Okay,
It may look like tamjiz, but tamjiz, we will inshallah talk more about that. But
okay,
tamjiz is a little bit different. Maybe a little close to this, but there are differences.
okay. Jazakallah khair.
Right? Yeah, inshallah. Any other question? Okay, so this is Badrul Kul. So this helps you explain sometime the status of the words also, because if you go start with an ayah with the majroor word, then you wonder why this happened. And then you can, if you know the rule of substitution, the rule of badal, then you can explain that. So it depends how curious you are about things in Quran. You may feel that this, you don't need to learn this, you may feel that if you are not a curious person. But if you are, then you should know this. And I think this is an important topic that we should learn. So this is total substitution, badlul kul. Let's go to the next one. which is partial substitution, badlul ba'd. In badlul ba'd, the badal is not the whole, the total, the same thing as the mubdal minhu. I say it again. In badlul ba'd, the badlul ba'd is not the same, exactly the same thing as the mubdal. For example, mubdal minhu rather. For example, I say kumil layla illa qalila. Stand in the night, that night, except a little. And then nisfahu, half of it. Awenkus, or in unkus, decrease, minhu, from it, qalila, a lit. Al-layl means the whole night. And then its substitution is nisfahu, it's half. So nisfahu is actually a badal of layl now. When Allah said layl, what did Allah mean? Half of it, or even less than it. Allah didn't mean to say the stand up the whole night. And you see layla is mansub, nisfahu, this is the next ayah, even starting with the mansub word. It's half, or decrease from it a little. So nisfahu, when badlul ba'd is used many times, it comes with a damir, which refers back to the mubdal minhu. Nisfahu, who is what? Who refers back to the layl. It may or may not be present though. Sometimes it is not present. So this is badlul ba'd, partial substitution. So layl was a full night. Nisfahu is not a full night. It's half of it. So this is why it is called a partial substitution. But when Allah said al-layl, He explained it, what He meant by that, by using the word nisfahu. And the next one is, next example is وَلِلَّهِ عَلَى النَّاسِ حِجُّ الْبَيْتِ مَنِ اسْتَطَاعَ إِلَيْهِ سَبِيلًا. And for Allah, upon all the people, is pilgrimage of the house, the Kaaba. So, alannas, all the people. So this is an obligation, Allah is saying, obligation. And for Allah, there is an obligation on all the people. And what is the obligation? Hajj of the house, pilgrimage of the house, meaning Kaaba. Manistata, who is able to travel towards it, who is able to have a path towards it, mean travel towards it. Over here in the first part of the ayah, Allah said it is an obligation upon all the people. But then Allah explained it by using this and the last part. Allah said, "Manistata'a ilayhi sabila," who was able to travel towards it. So it is actually not all the people. It is only on those people who have the ability to travel towards it. They have the money and all the other things needed for it. So alan nasi, you can say, is the mubdal minhu, and manistata'a ilayhi sabila is what? Is the badlul ba'd. So it is decreasing the number. So this is a subgroup of alan nas. Any question on badlul ba'd? No? Okay. Badlul ishtimal. This is the third type. In this type, the badal has a relationship or some kind of a link with the mubdal minhu. It is not exactly the same thing, right? For example, over here in the previous one, Layl is a night and Nisfu is still half of the night. We are still talking about the night. Over here, the mubdal minhu is people, all the people. And then we are still talking about the people in the badal who was able to travel towards him, right? So still we are talking about the people rather. It's the same thing, same category. But over here, it will not be the same thing. It will be something different. But the two things, mubdal minhu and badal, will have a link or a relation. And you see the word ishtimal. For example, we say sham. Something is shamil in the other. Something is included in the other. So the badal will be something which will be included or will be contained inside the mubdal minhu. For example, the first ayah is يَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الشَّهْرِ الْحَرَامِ قِتَالٍ فِيهِ. They ask you about the sacred month. Fighting in it. So Ash-Shahr al-Harami over here is Mubdal minhu. But you see the badal is Qitalin fihi, fighting in it. So the Mubdal is about month. But this is not about the month. This is something that happens in the month. Could happen in a month. So it has a relation to the month, a link to the month. But this is not a month itself. This is fighting. This is a different thing. So qitalin fihi is the badal, and this is called badlul ishtimal because it has a link to the mubdal minhu, which is ash-shahr al-harami. And you see ash-shahr al-harami is majroor and qitalin is also majroor. So they ask you about the sacred month, fighting in it, something in it. So this is called badlul ishtimal. Another example. I think we put the wrong haraka here. Kutila al-insan kutila ashabul ukhdudin nari zatil waqud. Actually, this is, I believe, 2 ayat. Kutila ashabul ukhdud. Ayah finishes here. An-nari zatil waqud. Ukhdud means trench or any excavation or a pit. People of the pit were killed. And then in the next ayah says, An-nari dhatil waqud. Nar means fire. Fire, the possessor of fuel. Over here, the word ukhdud is mubdal min. Ukhdud means what? A trench, a pit. And its badal is an-nar. An-nar means fire. So how the fire can be a badal of the word trench? They are two very different things. The badal, the fire is a badal of ukhdud because this trench had fire in it. So they had, those people of the trench, they had filled this trench or a pit with fire. So the fire was inside the pit. So when Allah is saying ashabul ukhdud, Allah is meaning ashabun nari, actually. The people of the fire. Then the fire was inside the pit. So fire, that fire of fuel, fire, the possessor of fuel, fire with fuel in it, is the badal of ukhdud. and ukhdud will be mubdal minhu. And that is the reason, even, I mean, An-Nari Zatil Waqud is the next ayah, but it is starting with a majroor word because ukhdud is majroor. So again, people of the trench or people of the pit were killed. The fire possessed fire with fuel in it. I mean, Ashabul Ukhdud means Ashabun Nari Zatil Waqud. People of the fire were killed, and the fire, the sifa of fire is that it had fuel in it. So nar is a badalul ishtimal, and ukhdud is mubdal minhu. That's all I had on this topic. There is another type of badalul ghalat, but that is not used in Quran. So that's why it is not included here in this list. So if we have any questions, we can talk about them right now.
Shavabi, in Surah Asr, when we say innal insana lafi khusr, so illa lazina amanu. So is that be badalu ishtamal as well, or could that be?
You're excluding people from it. Like you say, wal asr, innal insana lafi khusr. Then you're excluding. You are not saying. You say illa lazina, except those who, illa lazina amanu, those who believe, right? So
Yeah.
you say, for example, you are saying probably it will be like this, badlul ba'd, right? Over here, Allah says, and for Allah, upon all the people is mandatory that they do Hajj. And then Allah is saying, what is Allah meant by those people? All the people. Allah meant actually who are able. So this is like a subcategory of that. But in Surah Asr, you cannot say illa allazina amanu is a subcategory of innal insana, the insan. Allah is excluding something, not making part of it. I'm not sure I'm doing a good job of explaining it.
That makes sense. I was trying to relate, the concept with the example, so that helps.
Yeah, to me, this is not a example of badal because Allah is excluding some people from them, not describing a subcategory or smaller category of those people.
Right.
Any other question?
Assalamu alaikum, Brother Shabazz. Brother
Walaikum
Shabazz,
salam.
when we're talking about Badrul Ishtimal, the last one, is in the second ayah, An-Nari Zatil Wuqud. Isn't this saying that the trench includes the fire? So
Yeah.
it's talking about the trench.
Right.
And right. So these are people of the trench, a trench that includes fire, right?
Yeah, these are the people of the trench, and the trench was full of fire, and there was fuel in that fire was burning, and there was additional fuel in it at that time when it was burning.
Exactly.
Yeah. So otherwise it will be difficult to understand what is meant here if you don't really understand the link between fire and the trench.
Yeah, I was trying to say it's not saying Ashabun Nar. This is not talking. It's not saying these are people of fire. These are people of the trench. And
Okay.
in the ayah above, Shahr al-Haram, and then the next, it says what is included in this month, right? Qitalat fi. Same way An-Nar is included in the trench.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it is included in the trench.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jazakallah.
All right, as I said, this is the first time we are teaching this topic in this course, so we could improve it maybe in the next time we do or somebody else does it, to provide more clarity, maybe more even better examples of badal and different types of badal. And I believe this is something that can benefit if we understand it, and because it can explain what is going on in certain parts of the Quran and will improve our understanding. So if there are no further questions, then we can move on to the second part of the class.